Picture this: ideal conditions, moderate winds, and a golden sunset casting enchanting hues over the landscape. Emily, along with her parents and her child, joined Brian for what was supposed to be an epic adventure. Little did they know, they were in for a wild ride that would change their lives forever. Brian, the charismatic balloon maestro, exuded confidence as they soared into the skies. He gave the passengers a tour to remember, navigating the area with finesse. However, around the 30-minute mark, the vibe took a sharp turn. As Brian made a crucial radio call to his chief chase driver, disconnected fuel lines, panic set in as the hot air balloon descended towards the ground. Brian Boland was desperately searching his pockets for a crucial item, a striker. The burner's pilot light had gone out, and he needed it to reignite it and prevent a disastrous crash. It was chaos in a basket, with Brian desperately searching for something to reignite the burner. In a nail-biting moment, Brian found a plastic bag revealing the life-saving striker. The flames roared back to life, but the descent continued. Brian, ever the optimist, urged everyone to prepare for a bounce back, but reality had a different story. The impact tipped the basket as it touched the ground, sending both Brian and Ellen flying out of the basket. Much to the horror of Roger, Emily, and her child, they were left clinging to the basket in utter disbelief. Just a quick interruption. I would be extremely grateful if you could spare a moment to like and subscribe. Continuing on. They were left alone, absolutely having no idea how to land the balloon. Emily then noticed a brown shoe. Peering over the edge, she spotted a shocking sight: Brian dangling from a strap outside the basket. Panic turned into a gut-wrenching realization. Emily, a former EMT, sprang into action, trying to figure out how to rescue him. The drama unfolded as Brian shockingly refused help, insisting they leave him. Now hanging on by a thread, he began shouting landing options. "Do you want to land in the water or a field?" Both terrifying choices for Emily and the crew. As Emily pleaded with Brian to grab the lifeline, he maintained his heart-wrenching plea to be left alone. He continued yelling out the commands, and Emily's dad gave the balloon the gas-heated air, then let it float, then gave it more air. With the wind steering the balloon into uncertain territory and daylight fading, the situation grew dire. 10 minutes later, Brian's instructions ceased. He whispered to Emily that he couldn't hold on much longer. By this time, he got his foot unstuck, but he was hanging on with both of his hands. As they neared a river, Brian said, "Oh," then he plummeted down to the ground at a great height. The balloon, on a harrowing descent, seemed destined for disaster as it approached the looming threat of power lines. Miraculously, fate took a favorable turn, and the balloon narrowly missed the power lines, averting a potential catastrophe. Yet, the peril was far from over. An imminent collision with poplar trees cast a shadow of uncertainty over the situation. Emily's dad, desperately cranking up the heat, clung to hope for a miraculous ascent above the menacing trees. The balloon, behaving like a rebellious entity, wedged itself into an opening amidst the branches. However, the fragile branches couldn't bear the weight of the basket and the balloon. A heart-wrenching descent ensued, branches snapping branch by branch, tearing into the balloon's envelope. As the balloon plummeted, the once pristine envelope now ripped and shredded. The situation grew increasingly dire. The descent continued until, miraculously, they came to a final stop only a few feet above the ground. Chief chase drivers rushed to the scene. Along with the authorities, the family were now safe but shaken to the core. They were swiftly taken away, leaving behind a trail of questions and the remnants of a balloon adventure gone disastrously wrong.